MMA wrestling is very different. I think Khabib's just a freak. But I think that folk style wrestling from America is probably the best for MMA.
Welcome to Fruiting Body Podcast with your host, Brendan. We are here in Phuket, Thailand, and we have two absolute legends on the show today. We have George Hickman and Woody. Andrew Wood, correct?
Correct.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to go with Woody, and then I had this brain fart. Actually, this is an outro to an intro. Only people on the set will know what that means. So we're going to pass that on, and before we dive too deep, subscribe. Hans will put something here. It helps us grow in the algorithm. Like, smash that bell. I don't know. Apparently that's what YouTube likes. In this podcast, it's for anyone that wants to learn about the evolution of MMA and a little bit of Muay Thai on the island of Phuket. We're going to go through that journey with George as he came over to Tiger Muay Thai and how that evolved with Woody and Alex and bringing that to their new gym, Bangtao Muay Thai, here in Bangtao. Finally, some people decided to open up a gym here. I've been waiting for this for years. I hope it doesn't bring too many people, but I think it's going to. I truly believe this will probably be one of the best gyms in the world, and I'm not just trying to build their egos up. I've talked to a lot of people about this as well. So without further ado, let's get this started. All right. First of all, thanks a lot for joining us today. And why don't you take it away and give yourself a little bit of an introduction of who you are?
I'm George Hickman. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina on the East Coast. And I've wrestled my whole life. And once I was done with college, I wrestled through college. And then once I was done, I moved back home for about 6 months where I started training MMA. I knew the year before my last year of college that I wanted to start fighting MMA, and I started doing that. Had 2 amateur fights, moved to Atlanta, Georgia for about 5 years where I fought professionally, and then moved to Phuket in 2014, and here we are.
Yeah, so I listened to a podcast. I tried to get this done this morning so everything was fresh. So in the gym, listened to your podcast, and the second half I listened to a podcast with yourself. You made that transition over to Phuket. Now, that was originally kind of this trainer's, what's the word I'm looking for here? It was like they were putting the trainers kind of through like a test to be able to determine who would come into Tiger Muay Thai and actually be a head trainer or be a part of the team?
No, so I came originally in 2014 for the Tiger Muay Thai tryouts.
This is what I was looking to say. Yeah.
So
Tiger Muay Thai tryouts.
The tryouts to be actually like a team member, I guess you could say. I think there was maybe one tryout like 2 years before that where like Kai Kara France was on that one, I believe. But I didn't come to Phuket, with ambitions of becoming a coach. I came to make the team and to fight and train and my goal was to get into the UFC pretty much like every other MMA fighter. But yeah, I started coaching relatively quickly after moving here.
So that would have been 2014. So you probably been in what, 29, 28 at this time?
Yes, I'm be 37 this year. Yeah. So yeah, I was about 28 when I came, I think.
And once you've made that tryout and you've got on the team, what did that represent being on the team at Tiger Muay Thai? Does that mean like they're sponsoring you, all the training, all the food is paid for, and essentially like as you go to these fights, they're taking a percentage of your purse, or what did that completely encompass?
At that time, if you were a tryout winner, it was free training. I think you got 2 meals and 2 protein shakes a day. And I think like 3,000 baht stipend or something like that. It's changed a lot over the years. But at that time, it was, different management and things like that. And it was 2 meals, free training. And I don't think at that time there was people were paying a percentage to the gym.
So you could go out and fight. I checked you up on SureDog. Because I listened to that podcast and you said you were fighting. I didn't realize actually you were fighting MMA before you transitioned into coach. What kind of pivoted you from leaving that MMA career and actually becoming a coach full time?
Well, probably. So I got here in April 4th of 2014, and I don't know, a couple months after that, you know, I started helping some of the guys with just like wrestling and stuff. And then by about November of 2014, I was working at Tiger as the wrestling coach and the assistant MMA coach. And I never had, eventually I became the head coach probably like, I don't know, a year or so after that. But my plan was never to like, you know, stop fighting. Like my last fight that I had in 2016, I won, and I had a knee injury. I had surgery before on one of my knees, and it was swollen a bit, and I think I like had sprained it in the fight. And during that time when I wasn't training, some of the guys, you know, they wanted basically they wanted more of me as a coach. So then I still didn't plan to stop, you know, fighting at that time, but just slowly, like I started traveling a lot, going to UFC events with fighters, and I've loved coaching. You know, I used to coach wrestling and stuff as well. And yeah, just kind of like basically I thought to myself, you know, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, or 5 months after the fight, like something's going to give, whether it's my fighting career or whether it's coaching. Either, you know, the team of guys that I, you know, help train, they're going to suffer, or my fighting's going to suffer because I'm going to be giving time to that. And obviously I loved Phuket, and my wife now was, you know, I was dating her at the time, and yeah, I just kind of felt like, you know what, it's the same. I get the same emotions from coaching, you know, cornering people and stuff. You just have less control. I have more control when I was the one fighting. So you still get the same rush and things like that. But I just felt long term, you know, I thought like I was okay at coaching, and, you know, I could have goals as well, you know, becoming a coach. And yeah, just
it's hard if you're spreading your energy too thin in whether you're coaching or fighting. You got to pick one. And yeah, like I was explaining earlier, we had Mike Malott, and we're sponsoring him, and that's kind of, he said the same thing. It's like, it's either you're a cornerman, you're a coach, or you're a fighter. It's impossible to be
very hard to do all of that.
Yeah, it's too much, and you're just your mental energy. Like, you need to focus on yourself before, you know, these people that you want to be coaching. To shoot it back over to Woody, if you want to give yourself a quick introduction, and then we're gonna figure out how you guys came together.
Yeah, sure. So my proper name's Andrew Wood. Obviously everyone calls me Woody, and everyone knows me as Woody. I first came to Thailand actually in 2005. I came out to train. It was in between rugby seasons. And currently at that time I was living near Manchester in the UK. And then I didn't make it back to Thailand until 2010. Tiger Muay Thai each time. And then kind of from there, I'm obviously a strength and conditioning coach. I was noticing that we were getting all these high level fighters coming through the gym, and there was no S&C kind of set up for them.
This is like 2010.
2010. So
yeah.
I actually came to train and fight, but then when I was there, I noticed that there was nothing going on in terms of the strength and conditioning. And yeah, I made it back in 2012 and kind of set the wheels in motion. And then, like I say, all those years later, here we are.
Yeah, here we are, and now we have Bangtao Muay Thai. This gym is opening up, and the grand opening will be this Saturday. This podcast won't be released until next Tuesday, so okay. We'll do a little shout out after this, and we'll go put some stuff up at Hugo Hub. How did you guys come together? And at this level now, you're business partners, but initially, could you guys maybe a little bit of back and forth and explain how did this relationship begin?
So
this better be not X-rated, right?
No, it's all right. We've called each other a few names before, but it's fine. So obviously, as George said before, he came for the tryouts, and I was one of the coaches for that tryout.
Did you give him the thumbs up, or?
Yeah, like we knew George was very, very high level. George actually beat Alex Volkanovski. We had like a Songkran scramble at the end.
Oh yeah,
and it was like a grappling competition, and George won it, beat Volko in the final, which was pretty cool. But we all that group there in 2014 was pretty special. Very it was the best tryouts we'd had so far. Met George there, And then he kind of started rooming with a few guys that I was mates with, a few ex-Royal Marines from the UK. And then George kind of started turning British.
Okay.
And then we got on more and more. Once that Americanism went, and then we became good friends, and I've been out and cornered him for fights and stuff like that, so it's cool. I'm sure George has got...
Yeah, and so that's initially how this you guys started this relationship. And as you guys were kind of growing together at Tiger Muay Thai, I'm sure you've seen not just so many fighters, but trainers come and go. But what specifically about Phuket and even just training in MMA has kept you guys here so long?
I think Thailand is a place that you love it after a year or so, or there's things that drive you insane and you can't stay here. But I would say that our group of friends, like that 2014 group, Woody, myself, Alex, who's our business partner as well and has been a huge asset and part of this gym, and then eventually my brother coming to Thailand. We've just all been very close. And in fact, last weekend when Volkanovski fought, Imolo, who's a former coach at Tiger as well, who's now back in Miami, and Shea Walsh, who was also one of the tryout winners of that year. They all went and watched Alex fight that weekend, and it was like, all the guys back together, and Eugene Bearman. Like, it's just, there's a lot of history amongst all of us coming from, and we all met at Tiger Muay Thai, and yeah, that's, we've all been very, we have a group chat. We may not see each other all the time, but we're always in talks with each other. And yeah, it was just like Woody said, it was a very special group of people that came together, and a lot of us are, still very close.
Would you guys be considered like the pioneers of MMA in Phuket, or was there a generation before you guys arrived?
No, I think Woody can probably elaborate on that more, but there was coaches before me. Like when I came, Roger Huerta was the person that, like, I'm very thankful to this day for him, because he's the one that gave me the opportunity to be, his assistant coach. And eventually, he moved on, but if it wasn't for him, I might not be sitting here. But there's a long history. I think Woody probably can tell you more about that of MMA in Phuket.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we discussed before, just for the people listening, whether you're on Spotify, Apple, whatever, or YouTube. The idea of this is we're not going to tell the life stories of both these guys, but it's more to focus on the evolution of MMA and how it's gotten to where it is today. And now it's a major milestone of a gym opening up in Bangtao, which I've kind of been on the side of, yes, I wish this was over here because of the people that you're going to bring. And also at the same time, I'm like, I don't want people to know what this hidden gem is up here either. I've been here for 6 years, and like, it's gorgeous up here. So back to that, if you can speak on the evolution of MMA in Phuket and how that came from maybe AKA and Tiger, or maybe there's a missing piece that I'm not even aware of to what you guys are doing today.
So my first experience of like MMA in Thailand was in 2005. So I came to obviously train Muay Thai and whatever else, as I said, in between sort of playing rugby. And when I got there, they actually had a makeshift cage set up. It was only tiny. It was like a proper, just a cheap welding job and whatever else, but they'd got a cage. And they'd got a quite high level Aussie grappler called Daniel Sainty, who was with Elvis Sinisic and Anthony Parosh back in Australia. And he was one of their, I think he was brown or black at the time, so he was still quite a young guy, but just one of those guys that was fully into it. So he started teaching jiu-jitsu. Before that, they had Alex Reed, if you remember Alex Reed from the UK. He was like a bit of a wild man.
But this would have been like UFC days, like early 2000.
Early. So 2004, 2005.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I have no idea about this. So.
Even this is. Yeah.
So they had this guy Alex Reed over. He was like guest coaching. So it was just guys that were just kind of dribbling through, but they asked them to guest coach when they were there, and then that kind of started the ball rolling a little bit. So actually, Daniel wanted us to go.
And this is all at Tiger.
All at Tiger Muay Thai,
okay.
Yeah. So Daniel started teaching grappling, but for me and a few other guys. There was a guy called Owen, an Irish guy, and a couple others, and we actually took a team up think it was the second Southeast Asia grappling games in Bangkok. And we went up there to a university and we all competed. It was the first time, you know, I'd only had maybe 5 weeks grappling experience. But I'd come from a rugby background and I was quite athletic in my younger days. So I kind of winged it a little bit. Got 2 silver medals that day, which was pretty cool.
How many people were in the contest?
Never you mind. Never you mind. But yeah, so that was a great experience, and so that was kind of my first taste of MMA in Phuket, and then fast forward to 2010 when I got back there. Obviously, they started to get the ball rolling with a few guys there, and there was Ray Elby there at the time.
Was it considered an MMA gym or still a Muay Thai gym and with some grappling?
Still Muay Thai, but it was teetering towards the MMA side.
And even that time in 2004, 2005, was it still like branded as a Muay Thai gym and just you guys were, you know,
Muay
trying,
Thai,
purely Muay Thai. And then you just, because of MMA, decided, hey, why don't we add, you know, some other types of, let's say, martial arts and exercise into this curriculum?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, so the owners, 3 of the owners were American. And they obviously saw an opportunity to bring MMA to Thailand. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Who were the owners back then?
So there was Sean Getchell, Sean Douglas, and a guy, Big Mac, who's, I think he's still in America. And I know the 2 Seans are actually over here. Sean Douglas, I think, owns a gym in Samui now.
Okay.
And I think he was talking about doing something in Singapore as well. But
did they sell that over to I follow the guy on Instagram. It's a Thai guy now that's like the main owner, but he's kind of behind the scenes more.
Yeah. So I think Big Mac was the main guy, and he bought the other 2 out, or they sold their shares or whatever it might have been. And then from there, he then sold on to the new owners.
Okay.
Yeah.
That happened like right after I moved. And like the management, or right after I came in 2000, like the end of 2014, 2015.
So the management changed from like American to Thai, or is it a mix?
Yeah. American to Thai.
Yeah.
American to Thai. Now you probably didn't see it as much before as you did. Are you able to talk about the dynamic of being involved in a gym that's managed by Americans and then that transition to Thai, and tread lightly?
Yeah. Well, for me, to be honest, it was kind of a seamless crossover. Like we had a great manager before in Will Elliott. He was fantastic. Another American guy. He actually works for Diaz Combat Sports now in Canada. Again, we're all part of the same friendship base, you know. So it was kind of a seamless kind of takeover through management, because the gym was running like clockwork. You know, we all had our spots, we all knew what we were doing, and the gym was kind of running itself. And then the new owners came in and then obviously put new management in and whatever else.
Spruced it up.
Yeah, and spruced it up. Yeah, completely renovated.
They're
the place.
injecting more capital and
exactly.
Yeah, like when I came, everything was in 2014 was like bamboo. It was like the old Tiger Muay Thai, and I think there was a phase before, like Woody's saying, before even I got there, like it was held up by bamboo. But then when the current management, like, man, they did everything. Like the MMA room when I got there was like this small little box, and it was hot, and the air conditioning made the mats like super wet. And then they built, the outdoor facility and like completely changed it in the grill and everything. And now it's like, this massive place that it is. And it's, it's.
And it's kind of set a cornerstone or a benchmark of what gyms, like even like yourself, that if you're going to be successful at that high level in Phuket, what are the standards? Could you even imagine that Tiger Muay Thai transitioning into this basically elite athletic performance institute that it is now, and similar to like your own? I've went over to your place as well. It's at another level, let's say. Could you even imagine that in 2005, or did you foresee that happening?
No, I mean, I was just young and training and going out on the beers. So I didn't even think about the future of the community within Thailand. But yeah, I was so surprised when I got back, even just 5 years later to 2010, and the change was phenomenal. And then obviously once George came as well, and then that change again in 2015 or whatever, it just exploded. But I think what really got the ball rolling for Tiger was, so George said about Roger Huerta, who, you know, we kind of all of us that are in that were the coaches at Tiger were kind of brought in by Roger. So like George said, we owe him a lot for that, because we wouldn't be in this position now. But he started to come just to train, and then YouTube videos started coming out and social media, and kind of guys were taking notice, because Roger was a big name, you know, he's on the front cover of Sports Illustrated and whatever else. And then, from there, more and more people came. Phil Baroni started coming out.
Yep.
I think John Fitch was there, a few other guys, you know, and then that just started the ball rolling for the MMA, and then Roger and Brian Ebersol took over the MMA coaching. And then from there, it just went up and up and up. Yeah,
that's what I had Lynn Miller on. I'm sure you're familiar with her. Had her on the podcast. She was more explaining the like kind of history of MMA, that side, until what she's doing, because obviously it's completely different from what you guys are doing. Right. But she was saying kind of the catalyst or the straw that broke the camel's back that really set this off was Tiger Muay Thai's presence in social medias, and specifically YouTube. Like that was like the bread and butter, bringing people in.
Yeah, it's massive.
Right.
That whole street is very like organic, how it all happened, and all the other, you know, gyms coming up. But yeah, they've done like, you know, before me, while I was there, after me, like that place is always going to be pumping because of the brand that they've built and the social media presence. And yeah, it's pretty like insane to think about all the people that have come through that gym, whether it's coaches or fighters. You know, it was a pretty incredible place.
Yeah, and it was kind of like the cornerstone of why people were coming to let's call it. It was still called the Tiger Street, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, named after that, and you're getting Unit 27 popping up, and you know, healthy eating, healthy foods, and there's a lot of options there now. As we move past 2014, when did these other MMA gyms start to pop up and appear, like AKA and I guess American Top Team's on that street as well?
Phuket Top Team.
Phuket Top Team, which is, I'm assuming, affiliated to American Top Team, or they just kind of.
I think it is.
I have no idea.
Okay, got it. When did that all start to appear? What year was that?
I think AKA was. I remember sitting at my desk on the car lot in Atlanta, Georgia, looking at like their Instagram at AKA, and when I came over here, I think it was built, if I'm not mistaken, right before I came over, or like maybe 2013.
Yeah, I think so, somewhere around that
because
time,
I had like a mentor, Brian Stan, that kind of helped me, coach me and stuff when I was younger, and he was like, "Oh, I know, you know, Mike Swick, if you ever want to go there." And but obviously, you know, I ended up at Tiger, but I think Phuket Top Team was, you know, well before I got there. So there's been other gyms that, you know, besides Tiger, that have been around for quite a while. I don't know the whole history.
Yeah.
Phuket Top Team, I know. So Boyd, he just started off with actually a little fight shop down the street next to Mama's, at the end of the street at Mama's restaurant. And then from there, I think he got in, I don't know the financial thing, but anyway, he opened up Phuket Top Team. And then he had the Leone brothers and Donnie Carlos and whoever else. And
I think Bisbin was through there as well.
Yeah, he had some good people.
There's been huge, like big names that have gone through.
Cyborg.
There. Like it's insane to think about like this small little island in a foreign country where, you know, Muay Thai is, you know, the national sport, and now all these other gyms. But it's all because of Muay Thai. Probably people coming here to train, and now all these other gyms have opened up, you know, that not only have Muay Thai, but MMA as well. It's pretty insane to...
When you talk to these elite fighters that are coming here, do they all tell you the same story why they're coming? Or typically, what is their reason or motivation to come here?
In my opinion, I think that coming here as like a high-level fighter, I think maybe in the beginning it was, you know, like different people were coaching, and, you know, back in the early days, like Woody said, but I think like over time, I know like at least for us, Alex and my brother and Woody, we all kind of trained, you know, the fighters together, and I think it helped us, you know, like with recognition, and but I think so people now come, you know, specifically to train with us.
Yeah, I mean, you get guys like Khalil, Bam Bam, Petra Yang. Like I'm assuming you guys are probably close with Khalil. in that sense. So you have a conversation with him. Do they ever explain like what was that decision? Like why Phuket? Why not just Tiger, but specifically Phuket to come training and actually come live here for months on end?
Well, Khalil came because he had been knocked out by Johnny Walker in the clinch, and he went to Pechindi in Bangkok, and then he got a call and got a fight, and then just came down and trained and liked it, and we hit it off, and that was that. But I think a lot of fighters, like now fighters know they can come here and get high-level training, but also think about being in like America or Canada. You're driving everywhere. You're going to this gym for this. You're going to that gym for that. You can come here to one of these different gyms, and you have many gyms to choose from, and you can get everything under one roof. The most expensive part is the flight. Once you get here, everything's, relatively cheap compared to like, the West, and you can get good training and not spend a lot of money.
Yeah, I guess that's especially if you're a new upcoming fighter. Like I remember seeing Petr Yan on the soy for his first fight. He was fighting. The only reason I knew him because he was fighting Mike Malot's one of his partners, Taruto.
Yes,
That was his first fight. So the only reason I knew Petr Yan, and I stopped when I saw him, just said hello. To be honest, I don't get starstruck. I don't want to bother these people. Let them live their fucking lives. Yeah. But that's how I knew that he was coming here, and he's kind of been loyal ever since. With that being said, do you get any fighters that come here and then they don't come back? Like, for example, like Tai Tuivasa, he hasn't been back since. He's went off to Abu Dhabi. Are you able to speak on that? Because I'm sure there's some stuff that obviously we can't speak on, and it's quite private as well. But why do people come and then maybe not come back?
I think Tai Tuivasa, like he came, he went trained at AKA. He trained with my brother and I a couple of times at Tiger. But then he went to AKA in America, which I thought was great for him because of all the big bodies and all the people, like Cormier with the wrestling and stuff. And then I think COVID happened, and then he didn't go back there either. It's just like these gyms in Thailand they're different gyms. It's not like they're like Syndicate Gym and Extreme Couture in Vegas. Because my brother was at Syndicate for the last year, and like it's like an international hub. People are coming through constantly, and I think there's just like different reasons. There's no like specific reason of why maybe they would come and then not come back. But COVID is definitely
I guess that's the biggest, especially if you're not able to get back to your families. Australia was locked down and whatnot. Did you guys notice like a huge falling off of major like elite fighters that left?
Yeah. Massive.
Are you talking 80%, 100%?
Yeah, like over 80%.
Yeah.
I mean, like once like I remember I was supposed to go to corner. I went to New Zealand in 2020 at the beginning in February, and it was getting pretty serious. And I went there for a UFC event for the Tiger. I trained Loma, and then I came back, and in March I was supposed to go with Khalil to Ohio, and then they canceled the NBA, and I knew when they canceled the NBA, I knew like it was very serious. And then a lot of people, man, they went home because nobody knew. It was kind of a scary time. Nobody knew what was going to happen, so most people went home. And for a long time there was, we trained at home or we didn't train, and then the gyms would open up, and then we had a core group of people, like a small group of people that
it's like push that up a bit to you. Can you hear? It could just be my headphones. Oh, you can't hear anything anyways. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I stuck it out. I haven't been back home at all. My biggest fear is like I go back and like just something crazy happens one week and then I'm stuck in fucking Canada, and that's pretty much a nightmare. So I'm not leaving. But did you guys generally both of you stick around here during the whole time?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were both. Yeah, and we were.
Yeah, I left 5 or 6 times to go corner people that I had fighting.
Yeah, because that UFC machine was still turning. Like Dana White didn't really. I think he stopped it for what, a month and a half, maybe.
Maybe that.
Really well.
Yeah, not long.
But I did, I think, 4 quarantines in Bangkok, 4 2-weekers, and then the last 2 times or 3 times that I've gone out with the Thailand pass, so I've been able to come back, which is like, it's annoying to do all the paperwork, but it's so much better than being gone for a week and then sitting in a hotel for 2 weeks. Like that's the worst.
You can come home straight away.
Yes.
Did you travel at all, or have you left?
Yeah, I went back to the UK a couple of times just to see friends and family. and also went to, I forgot about that, went to Vegas for
I forgot
for
you guys
Ultimate
did
Fighter.
the Ultimate Fight.
With George's brother.
Yeah,
and Volko and whatnot.
Well, why don't we just jump into that? So both of you guys were Volkanovski's coaches on the Ultimate Fighter. Is
Not
there?
me. My brother.
George's
Oh,
brother.
sorry.
Yeah,
Right. It was your brother.
Frank.
Yeah, because they didn't really show you guys they didn't show you on camera much.
Nah.
You didn't get a lot of camera time.
No.
Because I'd watch it and you just kind of see someone in the background.
Yeah.
How was that experience then? If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, we were still in COVID, so it wasn't Vegas. And there was limitations on what we were doing, but all the boys that we were with, so like Craig Jones and Volkanovski and myself and Frank and Volko's training partner Colby, we all like to train anyway, so we weren't really exploring Vegas as Vegas should be explored. We were pretty much training the boys, going home, resting a little bit, training ourselves, training the boys again. Pretty much the same as what we do every day anyway, but there was just cameras. And
was it at the UFC Institute?
Yeah, it was at the PI.
The PI.
Yeah. So they've got like the Apex where they have the fights. And they've got a gym in there, so it was a cool setup. We had the early morning slot, and then Ortega would come in afterwards, about an hour late.
Yeah.
And then same in the afternoon, we'd be in on.
Yeah, I wanted to touch upon that. I did watch a few episodes, and that was the big call out, like Volkanovski, and as an elite athlete, the ability to be on time, have schedule, have consistency. I mean, that just is going on to prove, who he is today as a fighter. And I think he's top 2 pound for pound right now.
Top 2.
And then he called out Ortega saying, like, what the fuck? Like, you show up an hour late. Like, how do you think you're not going to even come close to beating me? Do you think that was maybe a deciding factor why, Ortega's high-level jiu-jitsu and almost won that fight.
Yeah.
But that extra heart that Volkanovski had, I mean, those little things, these subtle nuances, could you see that a guy like Ortega he could not be champion if you're going to act that way?
Yeah, like we were giving him a lot of shit because this isn't about you. So this shows, obviously, you're going to get exposure and whatever else, and it's going to build the fight more. But at the end of the day, this is giving the opportunity to a group of guys that, want to get in the highest level, want to be coached by high-level guys and whatever else. And so when we got the picks and stuff, we were looking at guys that are going to work hard for us, going to be coachable. And that's how we picked our team. And we probably on paper, we didn't have the best team at all. But in the end, obviously, we came through and we got, 2 guys contracts, 3 guys contracts. And we were giving shit to Ortega because he was turning up late. And then as the weeks went on, his team were getting pissed about it too. Of course, like, you've only got a limited time, and then they were ended up having to stay later than they should be. So then they were getting back to the house later, eating later. It was just a shit show for them. Whereas
and the production team too is like,
yeah,
what
the production, exactly. So we were all friendly with the production team and whatever else. They were just kind of over it with Ortega because it was just like, well, who do you think you are, kind of thing. Like, you're just turning up.
Yeah, interesting. And then
we would be literally leaving after sitting down, having a coffee, doing our COVID tests, which we had to do pretty much every day.
Fucking hell.
And so it'd be like 45 minutes later, and he'd be rolling through the traffic lights when his team is already there, just shadowboxing and it's just like, you can't be like that. You've got to respect
not at that
guys,
level, right? Especially when you're going into a title fight. And I still am an Ortega fan, but I was much more of an Ortega fan maybe 2 years ago until Max pieced him up, and I said, "Oh, never mind. This guy's not at that level." Like, were you in Vegas for the fight as well? For the Ortega Volkanovski fight.
I was there cornering Loma while they were while they were filming the show, but I was not in Vegas. No.
Yeah, that did you talk to? I've heard a little bit of Volkanovski explain it after that, but did you talk to him after the fight immediately? Like, how close and how tight was that choke?
Yeah, I think Frank asked him, and he'll say it himself, it was tight.
Yeah, but I think, like, I watched the fight on my couch here, and I knew, like, he was either going to sleep or he would have gotten out of it. And, of course, he got out of it. But that's just the type of guy that Alex is, like, there was never a doubt in my mind that he would have tapped. He would have went to sleep.
Yeah, it looked like he just muscled his way out of that. Like his head looked like it was about to pop off.
Yep.
But no, that
Volko's freakishly strong. Freakishly.
well, you got to imagine the guy went from what was he 210, 220?
215.
215? Like that's insane to cut down to, and I mean he probably walks around what 160, 165 maybe, and cutting down to
He's not
145. But still, I mean his bone density alone from being a rugby player in Australia, like, I mean he's just like a ball of muscle, right?
Yeah, he's just, but yeah, he's definitely like what he said, freakishly strong. But it's just like a testament to the type of guy that he is. Like he's a hard worker. You know, he was like, I remember when he was, you know, when we were training together and we were both fighting, and he was like, he would go home and like, what do you lay concrete or something? He did like concrete work and like to help support his family and stuff. And it's just like, it didn't surprise me that, you know, it was the only time during the fight that, you know, he was in trouble, and I knew that he would not tap, that he would.
He would just go out.
Yeah,
That's the thing about like a lot of the guys that we've passed through. George, probably the same as me, is you can single out the guys that are gonna be up there, and we said right from the start, Volko would be champion.
Anybody that is like a champion that you've seen come through Phuket that we have either trained with or coached, like we've known many years before, and that's not like, you know, an arrogant thing. It's just they were that good that it doesn't surprise us at all that you know they're having this.
What is that specifically? Is it consistency, habits, the dedication, the heart? Like how can you know what are a few examples of things maybe you've seen a Volkanovski in the gym that kind of, you know, when it clicks and says that guy's going to be a champion? Is there anything specific you could, you know, recall on?
I think that they just have that thing, you know, like it's that thing where like you will go to sleep, or you know, they're like, Volk's a professional in everything that he does. Jan is a professional in everything that he does. And, you know, and everyone else that, you know, that's had success, they just have that, you know, that thing that they, like Woody could tell you, like when he trains athletes in fitness, and people probably think it's just a lot of lifting weights, but like preparing for a fight, like, because he used to be my trainer as well, and those workouts, I used to cuss at him and everything, but they're like, you go to a very dark place during those workouts, and I'm sure that he could tell you that some people, you know, they smash it or they die while they're doing it, but they get through it and they do it with at 100%. And then there's other people that maybe they don't have the same intestinal fortitude as, you know, the other ones that have that it factor.
Would you say it's the wrestlers that 9 times out of 10 have that extra grit because of how they grew up? I mean, and that's a testament to any podcast you listen to, like a wrestler compared to, I don't know, a BJJ expert growing up, or someone in Taekwondo or karate. A wrestler is going through some serious shit as a kid going through D1, and you can probably talk about that compared to, you know, someone just coming into it. So I guess the question is more like, do you agree with that? Like these wrestlers are the ones that can really push through that dark place.
Yeah, 100%. I've actually mentioned this before on a previous podcast that, yeah, it's kind of not every one of them, but majority for sure can just, you write something on the board, they know it's going to suck, but they'll just go at it and they'll just keep going until they're done. And I think that's instilled, like obviously George, I don't know anything about, you know, the American wrestling and what the guys are doing in Chechnya and stuff like that, wrestling wise, but all I can tell you is, yeah, they have something in their mind that they can just switch and just, they'll go to dark places for you.
Yeah, maybe you can touch on that, George. Like, I mean, as coming from D1, I mean, what were you guys going through specifically to, like, you know, allow you guys to get through those dark places when training?
I think that, and you know, it's not everyone's that wrestles is not like that, but I've wrestled since I was 5, and you just over time, like it takes so much discipline to make weight. Like I remember my sophomore year of high school, waking up at 6:30, running in a rubber suit, going to eat lunch, and I'd eat like some shit food at that time because I didn't know anything about cutting weight, and then I'd ride the air down bike for 45 minutes in a rubber suit, and then I'd go, and this is very stupid, and then go to practice, and then go run one more time when I got home. But that's what I thought I had to do to make weight. And then once you get to college, you know, you're waking up every morning at, you know, 5:45, 6 o'clock, whatever time training is, or your preseason training. And then you have practice, and then you have class, and then you have practice again, and then you have to study, and you're like juggling all these things. So whether it's high school or college, you know, it's just like the guys that can't make it usually burn out.
What percentage of guys can't make it? Because I'm assuming as you're doing this with a group of guys, and it's kind of that mob mentality, like, well, I don't want to fucking fail. Okay, so I'm not. So you're kind of pushing each other subconsciously.
Well, college wrestling is not for, you know, everyone. And guys that there's, you know, really good wrestlers that don't pan out in college, and they end up like dropping out and things like that. But yeah, I think it's just like, I think to wrestle, like anybody that wrestles, whether it's 1 year or their whole life, you know, I have a lot of respect for, because they know. Like I've met a lot of people who've wrestled for maybe 2 years, and they like they'll like laugh and be like, oh yeah, you know, like whatever, and they ended up not wrestling longer. But for that 2 years, you know, like I have a lot of respect for them. But it's just like you make a lot of sacrifices, I think is the thing. A lot of sacrifices, and it's just instilled in you constantly in practice, you know, like about going the extra mile, doing the extra thing, you know, putting yourself through that. And
yeah, I mean, I find, so I've trained Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. I've probably trained Jiu-Jitsu for about a year. To be honest, like I kept fucking my shoulder up that like I couldn't get to the gym, and then I would just get fat. So I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. Like you'd be out for like, I'd tweak a shoulder and like I'd have to get like a cortisol shot or something. I'd be out for like 2 months, couldn't do anything. Muay Thai, on the other hand, for me, I wasn't going into it for the fighting. It was pure for the cardio. And I probably trained that 2-3 years, but I would 2-3 times a week. And then I would purely be with a one-on-one trainer. And my routine was, okay, 5 rounds, 5-minute rounds. But that would take me 2 months to get to that level. It would start off with like 3 rounds, 3-minute rounds. My point is like that cardio alone, like I could not breathe at the end. How does wrestling compare to that? Is it even on the same level, or would you say wrestling is on a much more intense level than even comparing like that type of exercise in Muay Thai?
I think wrestling is, in my opinion, and I've done, you know, MMA and wrestled my whole life, but wrestling is like, it's 7, like if it's a college match, I think it's still 7 minutes. I'm so far removed, but it's like the whole match is you're using every ounce of energy, it's just like a complete burnout for the whole time that you're there. Like you're using every piece of energy in your body. But I think that wrestling is like mentally, it's not even so much about, because you get in such good shape. Like when I was wrestling in college, that was the best shape I've ever been in. Wrestling practice in college was way harder than anything I've ever done for MMA. And I think it's just like mentally you have to be so strong as a wrestler, you know, and it comes from many different things, from cutting the weight, the discipline, from, you know, missing this thing and because you have to be at practice or you have to, you know, compete. But the wrestling workouts, the things that I've done, you know, as a kid in high school and college are like nothing whatever that I've ever done since then has ever compared to that.
And it makes you also mentally stronger to live in places like Thailand. Yeah. Well, see, I lived in China, so coming from China to Thailand, like this is a breeze. Like, I don't know. Have you guys been to China for any?
Yeah, we've had a couple.
Okay, so then you get it
many times.
So you get it. Like I lived in the belly of the beast.
Where at?
Shenzhen.
Okay.
For 6 years, so it wasn't even that bad. Shenzhen Shuko.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and that was enough. Yeah. Like there's days where just, you know, a Chinese guy, you're at 7-Eleven having a beer with your friends after playing hockey, and a Chinese guy comes up to you eating an orange and just spitting on your foot.
That's very strange.
100% normal, and they're just looking you up and down, or you go into the shopping center, and as you enter, some lady's holding a baby over a garbage can taking a shit. Like 100% normal. So you become so desensitized that I found when I came here, you get these older guys. You know how Thailand is. You get the complainers. Like it's nothing as good as back home. Well, fuck, go back home. Good luck. Yeah. You don't want to go back there either. Back home it's boring. Let's be honest, right? So when I get here and I see a Thai guy cut me off, it's like in China they will, if they miss an exit, let's say on a highway, they will literally stop because they've passed it on GPS and back up on a highway where people are going like 120 and just back up in the lane and then go off. So I've seen it all, but I guess we lost track there. But it's, I guess wrestling and martial arts, it can, make you strong enough that nothing can really go wrong here. I mean, always expect the worst here. Never expect everything to go smoothly, but
no, it never does. But I feel like I said before, like if you stay here long enough, you
my benai, right? It's kind of that my benai mentality. And if you don't take that on, I don't think you'll ever last here either.
I agree.
Have you had people come through where it's just they get too stuck to the ways of home and they can never change? Of no, this is Thailand. This is how it works here.
Yeah, I think so. But you like kind of on, especially the Tiger Street, it's pretty westernized. So you know that, your food might come out late or they might get an order wrong or whatever it is, but kind of everyone kind of deals with that okay. But there are always, like you said, the complainers and guys that just can't handle that their food's always late or that can't handle, people cutting them up and stuff like that. And it's just, it's just one of these things. This isn't our country, so you just got to roll with the punches and you either love it or you get out.
Well, and that's probably the reason as well. It is third world. Let's be honest. The infrastructure is not like first world, but that's why it's much cheaper to live here as well. But in general, I mean, it's, I would honestly, I don't think I'll ever leave here. I haven't been back home, and I even told my parents, I'm like, you know where to find me. Like,
I mean, I think that's all of us in this room, love this place and we would never want to leave. But you either that's people that complain. I'm like, well, if you don't like it, go back home.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's living in China. If you went to a dinner with, let's say, 5 people, 100% one person doesn't even get their meal. So here, sometimes if I even get the meal, I'm like, that's great. And I would say 2 times out of 10, it's wrong. But you order pad thai and you get, pak kaprao, or you get green curry. You're like, well, I like that too.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, right?
You kind of just roll with it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to throw it out and lose money either. And maybe they made a mistake. They've had a long day. It's it's bloody hot here.
That's
right?
I hate when people from another country are yelling at a Thai person in, whatever language it is. And it's just like, mate, they don't understand you. Just be calm and try to get through it. This is their country,
Yeah, and they don't care either, which is great. They're just like, all right, sure. But it puts a bad taste, because then it generalizes all Farangs are like this. It's hard for them to see the difference of that. Okay, let's fast forward to what you guys are doing with Bangtao Muay Thai, and let's start from the evolution of that. How did this even come about? When did you start thinking into this? How did this grow, and how did it get to where it is today, in which you're opening on Saturday?
Yeah, so this conversation about opening our own place happened a good few years ago.
6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, we've always kind of wanted our own place, but we just didn't really know how to go about it, and we didn't have the capital and whatever else, and COVID hit, and we were kind of without work, and we were kind of sitting around, and then Alex, our other business partner, he was like, lads, I've been thinking, I think this is the time that we start to pull our fingers out and we kind of get the ball rolling. And me and George were like, yeah. Me and George are quite similar in the way that we're a little bit sabai, should we say? Yeah. So Alex was like, right, I'm going to go and start looking around and see what's available, like plots of land and this and that. And he went around and he found a couple of spots, and we took a look at a few, and a few weren't available, a few weren't right.
Where were you checking besides? Because you're at the old Revolution, which actually it was a Muay Thai gym called something for the Four Brothers, or Sitson Pinon, which is actually the guy lives next door, Tim.
Oh, okay.
He's in the building right next door.
Nice.
But so you found this location. What other locations were you looking at?
So we looked.
Chalong, Rawai. We looked everywhere.
Yeah.
We had a couple good ones, and then something happened to it, fall through, or I don't know. But when Alex, like Woody said, he was he's the driving force behind this gym. He's the one that, kicked us in the ass and was like, this is the time. And yeah, like when he first mentioned about coming to this area, I remember like sitting on the couch, you know, like Woody and myself and my brother, and I was just like, absolutely not, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking going up there. And I was like, this is stupid. And then I started spending time up here, and I was like, how ignorant was I?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was the same. I'd not really spent much time up here, and
It's a hit, man. I've been here 6 years. Like I've moved around a few times, but
I hate leaving here and having to go
No.
anywhere else.
I've gone a year without leaving here. Sometimes, like because Rawai, it's another country down there. I mean, it's far. It's an hour.
Yeah, it is. It's like definitely the furthest point away.
Right?
And it's yeah, this area is incredible.
Yeah, it's and these beaches, like Naiharn's a bit overcrowded. Nothing. Honestly, I think Surin Beach is probably one of the best on the whole island.
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean and
And
I'm not being
Bangtao Beach as
biased
well.
living here. Bangtao's nice, but it's still big, it's open. But Surin, I mean, wait till the surf starts coming off this point. It's gorgeous. Camel is great for surf if you're not great. It's a bit garbagey though. That's the problem. Like you surf that in like after a storm, like literally you're swimming through bags.
Yeah, I started surfing last year. with
Yeah, were you going off the point here?
here, Gamala, Bangtao, just like every day. My wife was in America for 3 months, so yeah, I did a lot of surfing.
Yeah, and that's another like benefit if you're getting, because what's interesting about Muay Thai and MMA, there's not really a high season. I mean, if you got to fight, you got to come train. That's it. So when they're coming in, let's say June, July, August, they're also going to get surf as well. Yeah. So you were checking these plots of lands in Chalong, and finally you found Bangtao, and it just clicked in terms of the land deal, or was there a little bit of a push that Alex had to give you guys to get your ass up here?
No, I think like because he had mentioned that early on, and this whole project took about 8 months, and once we finally got the land, but in that time, I spent a lot of time up here, like doing like hotel reviews and stuff, and stayed at a lot of nice places. And we have a buddy, Will, that took us out, or took me out. I think he took the rest of the boys out as well, and I fell in love with the place, and I was like, let's go. And then here we are.
It's
because the way Alex explained it, so he had this kind of little pitch going on, and he just brought up a map of Phuket, and he was just like, lads, where would you put a gym? Would you put it right slap bang in the middle, not close to the water? Or if we had the opportunity right next to the beach, would we do it here? And of course, we were like, well, yeah, right next to the beach, of course. And he was like, well, there's some land up here that we could get hold of. And the deal happened to be amazing.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. And once you travel opens, you're going to see how convenient it is with the airport being 25 minutes away. Yeah. And you can literally back road it. Those back roads are gorgeous. Like you can back road in 20, 25 minutes. Yeah. Which is obviously it's a bit more of a headache when you're wanting to travel, like say just as simple to Bangkok and you're down in Rawai. I mean, that's another hour on your trip, right? Yep. For me, like my girlfriend lives in Bangkok now. She's moving down here soon. Like by the time I leave my house, I can be in her condo in like 3.5 hours. So it's great living up here as well. Yeah. I've been saying ever since I've trained at Unit 27 just for 10 days. Maybe a couple of years ago, and every time I've been down there, I've always said, why doesn't someone move this up here? I couldn't even comprehend it. I said, if you're coming to Thailand to train, clearly you're not comfortable maybe on the motorbike. Why wouldn't you want to be in walking distance of a beach? Because now the new Tiger on that side, I've been to that Tiger facility, but with the volleyball net and whatnot. Actually, that's originally where I met Frank and Sean.
Oh, really?
Sean Kober, like 2-3 years ago. But you can't swim there, right? You can't go in.
It's more of like a bay.
Yeah, it's more like a bay, but up here it's absolutely gorgeous. So, okay, let's continue with that part of the story. So you came up with the idea. He found the land. What happened next?
Found the land, and we secured the land, and then we took quite a bit of while to start construction and things like that. And then, there was a lot of we trained people at Alex's house, and I had moved up here last June, and then I would drive back to train people at his house, and then he moved up here, and kind of we had a small clique of people that we were training that moved up here with us, and then we had puzzle piece mats down at the gym for months until our actual mats arrived and the construction started. I think we started construction October of last year. I believe. I think October.
Yep.
And before that, we were just training on puzzle piece mats. And now we're to the point where there's been like phases, at least for me, where I've been like, God, I just want this, and then I just want that, and then finally,
So you're adding as you're developing?
well, yeah, like for me, I was like, God, I just want to have that. I want to stop looking for land, and we just find it. And then like finally, and then it was like, then we got the land, and I want to start construction. And then it's like we started construction. I just want the mats down, and it's like eventually I just want it open. But we're finally at that point where, yeah, everything is pretty much done. And
How well planned was that, or were you guys kind of building the boat as it was sailing?
No, it was pretty. Yeah, we've had some teething problems, shall we say, with a few things, but we've
everything's turned out better than
yeah.
any problem that we had. It's, things have happened, and and then something better comes along. And like, I mean, Alex, like, he did the business plan, he did everything. He was the driving force of this gym.
Yeah.
And now, like I always joke with him, if it was up to me, we'd have been in a shit box compared to what we're in now. Like, the facility that we have now is, world class, and we're excited to be able to, to put our culture into the gym and have, train fighters and put more top people in the UFC.
What was the vision of this gym behind it? Is it trying to be at that level of the what is it, the PI, the Performance Institute in Vegas? Are you trying to reach a certain level? Where do you see this? And I'm assuming once you open, you probably have plans to even take it to another level, right? Yeah. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
For me, like right from the start, I mean, we've got some good people behind us that have really helped us out. So anything we've kind of needed extra or whatever, they've really helped us come. And for me, I wanted a world-class facility because we are world-class coaches without sounding sounding like.
I think anyone would say that as well.
And we've got more and more coaching staff coming that are, again, it's for me, I think we're going to be the best 100% in Asia as a team, and we're going to be, I think, very much like worldwide recognized as well. So I personally wanted a facility that represented that too. And yeah, we've got visions to take it even further. We've got some very good connections within the industry. So yeah, we want this where people come and it's a one-stop shop. And
so currently you guys are opening on Saturday, and can you run us through, like, obviously we'll try to visualize it. I've been there before, but walk us through the facility. What do you have currently right now, and maybe what are you looking to add down the road, and let us know about that.
I wanted to start small, but obviously we didn't do that.
No.
And I'm so happy that these guys, kind of took the reins. But yeah, the facility's, massive. It's
I saw your BJJ area where you guys you got the Fuji mats, like
yep.
you went all out, and I mean that's
the space is the MMA space or jiu-jitsu or wrestling, whatever you want to call it. Where we do anything MMA related is, a massive space. I don't even know the square foot or
it's huge.
Meters. It's massive.
You can get 100 people on that thing.
Right. And the gear shop is connected to it, or the check-in office with our gear shop is connected to it. And then opposite side, is another structure, and that is the fitness area. Woody's where he does all of his stuff, and or the people that work underneath him that are our trainers. And then
this is like the strength and conditioning.
Yeah. Yes. And then we have another area in the back that we've built that is like a Muay Thai boxing area, and we've our head trainer is Master Yod, who we've known, we knew at Tiger. He was my the first time I ever went to China and fought, he was like my trainer that helped prepare me and, held pads for me and stuff. And he was a trainer in Singapore at Evolve. And, he was Nong O's coach, and he's trained George St. Pierre.
He's Nong O's coach.
Yeah, he was before,
legend.
But he is a legend.
Yeah.
And his story is legendary as well. But we're Woody and I were so excited to, to be able to have him. He used to train George St. Pierre, he was his coach.
At Tiger?
At TriStar. They would fly him.
In Montreal, yeah.
I think they flew him out 3 different times to help him prepare for fights. So we're super excited that, you know, we have him as well. And then we have a cafe, which is cafe, restaurant, whatever you want to call it, but it's pretty much finished now this week, and like it pretty much.
Are you guys going to be doing like for example, are you going to do meal plans if someone like myself showed up and said, "Hey, I need a 3-4 day meal plan," and you'll put that similar to Pure Prep, let's say? Is that kind of the idea?
Everything.
Yeah, that's kind of the way we're going to go. We want to.
Finally.
I mean, we've and we're with the fighters and stuff that come through. We have a lot of guys that work with the fight dietitian Geordie. We're all very close with him too. He's one of our good friends, so we want to implement that as well, so that, you know, if they've got a meal plan from him, we give it to our chefs and they just create everything for the fighters. And besides that, we're going to be doing normal meal prep as well, like build your own.
I mean,
box
that's a whole
type
business
stuff
on its own right there. You're going to get a lot of people. For example, that's the one thing that everyone that lives in this area has been looking for. So, I mean, I'm going to be spreading this love there. You're going to get a lot of people coming in because we have, what's it called? It was Easy Box? Tasty Box. Tasty Box is gone. Yeah, they attempted that. Yeah, but it just wasn't good. Like, it'd be like chili carne, and it just like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah, we have a good chef that we've.
Anyways, I can talk shit about them if they're gone. So, so someone like myself can come in and say, "Hey, I want a 3-day meal plan. This is what I like." They'll kind of customize something for you. Is it going to be picking and choosing, and then that could be delivered, or I'd pick that up? How does that work?
I don't think that we've sorted like that. Will probably come relatively quickly, but not from like the first week that we open the cafe. That will not be a part. But our chef she's great. We've known her for years. She's worked in the industry.
But this is on the roadmap, let's say.
Oh yeah. This is going to happen quickly.
Like, in a few months.
This might make more than the Muay Thai. No, you'd be surprised because you get. I'm a golfer here, so I go out with a lot of these golf guys, and I mean, everybody here has money, right? So whatever the price is, they're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They pay. No one's penny pinching here. And when you offer that service, man, it doesn't exist here. It really doesn't.
Like leaving where we came from, like, you know, and being at Tiger for so long allowed us to, you know, to build ourselves up as coaches and stuff, and make a lot of connections. So it was a huge part of our life. But I think like once we knew we were going to go out on our own, we had to have something that could facilitate, you know, world-class fighters and, you know, people that wanted to come and lose weight. And we knew that we had to have, you know, basically everything that we have at the gym is what we knew we had to do, whether it was the fitness area, not just MMA. Because I think a lot of people at first, when they found out that we left, they thought it was just going to be, you know, an MMA gym, and they didn't know about the fitness area and the Muay Thai area, how massive it is, and the cafe, how massive it is. So,
do you guys have are you building a cage or like an octagon, or is that kind of?
No, we won't have an octagon, but we will have half of a wall. Like there'll be a wall on one side. So you've been in there. So one side will be, half of it will be an actual wall, and then half of it will be caged.
Okay, and that's basically so they can train off their back, off the cage.
Yeah, so they can do wall work and things like that to get off the fence.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm focusing too much on the food now.
No,
like,
I mean,
this is
eventually
really
we might have a cage, but as of now, no.
These facilities, like the Performance Institute, there's certain equipment that they do have that I've noticed that a lot of the gyms don't, and whether you have it or not, I'm not quite sure. Specifically, like these VO2 max testing machines, Tiger does not have that. But I was talking to Sean Kober on the importance of that, because guys like Petra Yang and a lot of these fighters, they don't know how to stop training, and then they get sick. And they don't realize, like, okay, your VO2 max levels are low today. I think is a rest day, or I think we should deload, or I think you should take the fucking day off. They don't listen, and then they go out, they train at 100%, and then Sean was explaining literally the next day they catch a cold. Are you guys going to be bringing this high level equipment into your gym? Is that in the roadmap, or could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I won't say too much, but like I say, we've got some very big connections within the industry, and yeah, that's kind of on the cards to bring that sort of stuff to Bangtao too, and also that not just for fighters, for anyone, that, you know, health markers is always a good to kind of see where you're at. But yeah, we're looking to incorporate blood work and kind of all that sort of stuff. So yeah, like I say, we've been blessed that through Tiger we've made so many connections and met some amazing people, and we've kind of always stayed in touch with these people, and yeah, it's kind of all coming to fruition now. So
I'm assuming probably the saving grace and the biggest motivating factor of opening your own gym now here is the control of the management to do what the fuck you want to do, right? For yourself. But were there times, and if you can talk about this or not, like some things that you wanted to introduce or implement at Tiger and you just couldn't get it past management? Do you have any situations like that, or certain things that you wanted to bring in and just, it hits that red tape?
For me, no, there's nothing that I can think of that I would ever, that didn't happen. Like management, I always had a great relationship with the management there. But the thing that I'm most excited about is, even though I was the head coach, it's still not my place. But now we have the control to, who comes, who stays, who goes, and to really put, the culture that we believe in. For me, this is like the two most important things are putting the culture that we believe in, and it's our culture, and letting that infiltrate the gym. And then, this sounds probably cliche, but like, I want to change people's lives, whether it's the office staff that works with us, they can train, they can eat healthy, and, hopefully, we do a great job and we can pay them, more than what they would make elsewhere, but also being able to help the local community and help, Thai people. I want to put more. I have another Thai kid that is probably going to be on the UFC soon, and I want to put more Thais into the UFC because, they have such a rich fighting culture, and we want to, to really not just move here and, make a buck. We want to help the community.
Yeah, that's the thing. I started a Muay Thai youth foundation. I tried to do too many things at once when I started. I did an event in Rawai during the first COVID called Muay Thai and Mushrooms.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there? Oh, fuck.
Eddie and Sammy were
I was fucking bored, and I'm like, I just found Eddie on Instagram. I'm like, hey, I'm going to come train with you. So that was the first step. And then I trained with him. I'm like, yeah, I want to do an event. Can you just I knew he was the connection to make it happen. Yeah. And then Sammy came in and they were announcing, and we're still editing the content. Like, we just got too busy. But yeah, I just threw that event on. No one paid anything. I just tossed all the money at it. I said, fuck it. Let's just do this down at Naiharn. 100% I'm going to do another one. It was a great day. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, I loved it.
I didn't even get to watch a fight because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. We had no idea what we were doing to run an event. I'm like, yeah, just put a live band there and have the Thai guy come out of there. Let's have a camera and just fucking throw a couple cameras up here and let's see what happens.
That's funny.
Anyways, but yeah, we started I was thinking, well, I have it on the back burner, this Muay Thai Youth Foundation. I was thinking that these kids, they usually come from like Isan and poverty, and they're actually coming into Muay Thai because they need the money to give back to the family. And then what happened during the lockdown, let's say, no longer could those kids, go into Muay Thai. And people don't understand that. Like, yeah, I understand the ethical aspect of it, where should these kids be fighting Muay Thai? Well, you haven't lived that life. Like, they literally have no other fucking choice. And all those kids ended up going into fishing because there was no Muay Thai and nothing to support. So I always thought, like, well, imagine those young kids that are going to come into Muay Thai anyways, but you train them at a young age with proper education, meaning like let them learn English at a very young age and push that. And then that kid has the decision. He can go, he doesn't have to stay in Muay Thai. He can go on, maybe he can have a fight career, but more importantly, maybe he can be a trainer. Now imagine you have an elite Muay Thai trainer that speaks fluent English that you can bring into the US. Like, that's a huge market, not from a monetary standpoint, but just for like the evolution and preserving the culture of Muay Thai. Because you see a lot of these trainers, there's always, right now, currently, a huge communication barrier, especially if you go to any gym on the island, right? And I thought, like, what if you could just educate them at a young age? Like, you give them that option to stay in the Muay Thai. Maybe they can go into something else, or maybe they could be a trainer. But like at least you kind of open that door for them. And now money is not an issue, so they're not forced to fight to give money back to the family. Maybe they can do fighting if they want, or maybe you can support the family. How you control that? Well, that's another story in terms of like giving that money back to the family. I've thought about this, and that's something once I get a bit more settled, I kind of want to reintroduce again.
You should reach out to Warwatana Gym and Buriram.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like these are the places, but it's not so simple either.
No, I've just seen it's a Canadian lady that runs it.
Oh, okay.
She speaks fluent Thai and Isan, and she has about 15 kids that she sends to school, and she has built them a new house, and it's pretty incredible. So
yeah, and I thought
show it to you after.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Once I settled. This podcast is pretty much running itself now. We're good. We'll get the mushroom company going. Then the plan is the Muay Thai and mushrooms. I want to do an event every 3 months, have a little fun. Always film down at Jamrock. That is such a
it's a
dope
cool
little
spot.
dope little spot there, even though it's difficult to film. And once all this stuff is running, and I'd actually have to hire a team to do the charity. But once I'm stable on that side, that's my plan. Because I think, especially with the current situation, so YouTube doesn't block us. But with what happened in the past couple of years, imagine all those kids and the Muay Thai fighters that were up and coming. Imagine a Muay Thai fighter in his prime. He literally just lost 2 years of his prime. It's
sad.
It's sad.
Sad.
It's. I wonder how far that put us back, like in the development of Muay Thai, and especially how influential people are realizing it is for MMA in terms of striking. I mean, Khalil, the last fights he's won were just like ridiculous leg kicks, and he's going in there doing his like, Muay Thai dance, and like, I think people are recognizing the importance of that. I mean, even Hamzat Chimaev, that's the whole reason he came over here for his little training, because he knew he was going to get leg kicked by Burns.
Yeah, and he has a trainer, a Thai trainer that owns the reggae bar. Owen Soy Thai is his trainer, Bang.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't realize Bang was his trainer.
Yeah,
for Chimaev.
Yeah, at All Stars or whatever his gym's called, Bang.
In Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's
he is a Suit legend and a Soy Thai legend. Yeah, but no, I think that MMA is going to help Muay Thai a lot. Well, I think it already has. Our gym, every other gym that people have come here to train Muay Thai, and then obviously there's a presence.
That's where the
in
money
MMA.
is, right? That's
Yeah.
like look at I'm sure you're aware of like Supergirl and Wonder Girl up like they're in one obviously, and she fought I forget who she fought. She just lost to I think it was a Singapore girl, but like you're starting to see that transition where they're realizing that there's much more money to be made in MMA, especially if you're a character as well, and you can kind of have that WWE presence, which they do.
Yeah, One's been a great platform for that.
Yeah,
huge, and also for the Muay Thai fighters as well, because they've obviously brought in they've kind of gone like a double show, haven't they, so to speak? So they'll have an MMA fight, then they'll have full Muay Thai rules, but with little gloves. Then they'll have the kickboxing. So they've done. I love watching One due to that mixture.
Yeah, it's more diverse.
Yeah,
but again, I think you have to be a hardcore fan too to appreciate it.
Sure, but it's given like people like Nongo and Superbon, who we've got for a seminar.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the amount of money that I don't know what they make, but it's much better than what they would make, in a stadium here.
Let's pull that up a bit. That's the thing about these mics is like you hear that. They're so it just helps so it doesn't pick up the aircon and stuff like that. So before we jump, we're at 1 hour. Okay, we're okay. Before we jump into what's going on this weekend with the seminars, which we can't really promote anyways. Maybe you can do it on your Instagram and then we'll tag it because this won't air till Tuesday. But I've been watching you and training Loma coming up. I think her last fight she won, but was it the one before she lost in a decision?
No, she lost her last fight.
She lost her last fight, yeah. When you initially found her, like what was this kind of vision for her into the UFC? What was your roadmap with her?
The Canadian lady I just spoke about, Frances, who comes with us on all the trips. She's kind of the translator and does whatever she needs. I met her randomly in a coffee shop. I don't remember what year it was, 2016 or 17. And she messaged me not long after we met, maybe 3 months later, and was like, "Hey, I know this Thai girl. She wants to fight MMA. Where should I send her?" And I was like, "Well, send her to us." And then her very first training, I remember Alex rolling with her, and he was like, "Mate, are you sure she hasn't trained before?" And I was like, "No, she's never trained MMA." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." Anyways, after about 6 months, we got her an amateur fight. Then she made her pro debut in Invicta in Kansas City, Missouri. And I think it was about, when she was signed to the UFC, it was about 2 years to the month of after she started training MMA. But she just has a natural knack, or she had, once she learned about wrestling and stuff, because she's a great clincher. Like, she's one of the best females that there's been in Thailand for Muay Thai. And, Woody's gotten her stronger, because she was fighting at atom weight. And then when she was signed to the UFC, she had to go up to
straw. Right?
Yeah, to straw weight. So, it's been constantly like a project, keeping weight on her and getting her stronger. And, so she's done well for, like, sometimes I joke with her and say, like, did you ever think you would be fighting it? She didn't even know what the UFC was, I'm sure, back 6 years ago, but now she's in the UFC, and, she's doing well.
And when you're setting up those fights, like, are you her manager as well, or does she have a manager?
She has a manager.
She has it's more of a question of, like, picking the fights, because obviously someone that without, like, a deep background in wrestling, you need to be careful.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I'll give an example, like Darren Till fighting Derek Brunson. He shouldn't have took that fight. There was just, he's got to fight strikers at this stage, but someone like Loma, like, when that matchmaking's happening, you're trying to keep her kind of against a striker at this point
Well, you don't want to keep her against a striker forever, because at some point, she has to be tested. But yeah, I think her manager's done a good job of, or not her manager, but, him and Francis and myself and, Woody and my brother and Alex, like, we all have a hand in her success. And it hasn't been easy. But yeah, she's just like, she's pretty incredible, when it comes to fighting. Like, she's coming off a loss, so some things she has to change, but yeah, she's.
Was it decision?
Yes.
Decision. So do you think these Thai fighters that are coming into MMA, like, they're going to be more successful in a 5-rounder? Because typically in any Muay Thai fight, they don't really do much in the first 2 rounds anyways, as for the gambling reasons.
Yeah, I don't think that really
as this mentality completely, you're able to train them, like, 3-rounder, you got to get going right away.
Yeah, well, they have to change everything, because you can't. The distance in MMA is very different than it is in Muay Thai or it is in boxing. So for me, Muay Thai, I think, is one of the best striking, that you can have. But you have to change everything about it. You can't stand like you do in a Muay Thai fight for an MMA fight. And Loma's, it's taken years, but she moves like, an MMA fighter when she's feinting and moving and things. But it's taken a long time to do that. And the other kid that I have, Top Noi, as well, he's fought in Ryzen in Japan a couple of times, and he's completely changed the way that he fights compared to when he fought Muay Thai.
This is the kid he'll be coming to the UFC, you think, or?
I think he's not far away.
Not far away.
Yeah.
What is that that catalyst, or how does that work, going from these smaller promotions and jumping into the UFC? Do you reach out to them, or do they reach out to you? How does that work?
I think just through the network of, like, I know people at the UFC, but I just let, their manager deal with it.
Okay.
Or like Loma, I knew from the start, like, I told her manager, this girl is going to be good. So you need to take care of her. And she's made it to the UFC. Like, I don't know, you kind of know, when someone has that thing.
It's intuition. You can't really even explain it, right?
Loma's not a Conor McGregor. She's not, people aren't lining up to see her fight because of, how much shit she talks or anything like that, because that's not who she is. But her skill is very good, and she's, improving all the time. And but Top Noi, on the other hand, people will line up because he's a character.
Entertaining.
Oh, he's an entertainer through and through.
Yeah.
So for a Thai fighter, they have to change, everything. But I think also grappling comes natural to them because of clinching. It's so different, but very similar at the same time.
Interesting. To go back to the strength and conditioning side, when you were working at Tiger, can you kind of touch on like some of the elite fighters that you were working with and working with them, sharing that experience of like how that relationship went? So.
There's been, obviously, I've worked with a lot of high level guys. Have been kind of blessed to be in that position to do that. Like Volkanovski, obviously, from when he was competing in PXC. Was that Guam?
Yeah, Guam.
Yeah, Guam. And then he became the champion in that, and then he moved on to fight for a title in Oz, and then obviously eventually UFC. Listen, like the way that we all are, we create that like a good bond with our athletes. Like
it's very intimate.
Yeah, it's like it's business, but we're friends.
But there's a huge psychological aspect to it as well.
For sure, because you as a coach, like you have to know kind of like what's going on with the athlete, because there is a lot of stuff that goes on, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes that people aren't happy with. At the end of the day, they might be good at fighting, but they've still got their own lives, whatever's happening, but behind closed doors. So
I think it was you were saying that you from the podcast I listened to this morning, it's maybe they had a fight within a relationship and they got 3 hours of sleep last night, and these like unforeseen things that can happen.
You have to know, like every athlete that myself or my brother or Alex or Woody trains or has trained, we've never like reached out and said, "Hey, let me train you." Like it's a lot of trust, and over time, like Khalil, it took him a while, and then he said, "Hey, can you help me for the first fight that he had that I cornered him for?" Or different athletes that come through this area, because it's different. They all have coaches at home or training partners at home as well. So it's a lot when they come out here and then they entrust you to to take care of them. And it's the same thing with Woody. Like,
is there politics there that they have to be careful as well? It's like kind of leaving a coach. Do they feel it? Like, do the coaches ever feel like?
I have no idea, but I don't think that it's like guys that we work with mostly, they spend a lot of time out here. It's not like they're staying at home. The guys that we help and go corner, this is usually where they make home for a while. But they come to us. I would never go and like say to somebody like, "Hey, I want to hold pads for you" or something like that. It's like just through in our training classes or working with, seeing what we do in a class or whatever, they trust you, and then they come or they'll ask Woody, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Or George or Frank or Alex, "Can you help me with jiu-jitsu or wrestling or whatever it is?" And it's a very like a relationship, it's very intimate, and they have to trust you because what they do for a living is not like going for a stroll into the supermarket.
How I more of a fan, I've always had this question. So you're watching these big gyms like American Top Team, and you have your Tigers, and even your gym itself. I mean, the facility is massive. As a coach, you can only spread your energy so thin across so many fighters. Otherwise, you're constantly on a plane and corner someone else, and that fighter, maybe they're in a 12-week program, but you can't be there the whole time. How like, what are the differences between like a gym like yourself or like, let's say Trevor Whitman, where, I mean, he's about to get his 3rd champion. Most likely, I think Gaethje wins that. And he's coming from a gym where it's pretty much just him and the champions. That's it. Can you talk a little bit about that, on like what are the major differences? Because even I would have to assume yourself, you're constantly traveling.
Yeah, I travel. Before COVID, I was traveling a lot, but I think our gym, just because there's 75 people in a class at Tiger or our gym or wherever, they're not all your fighters. Like, they're there to use the facility to have the training partners. It doesn't mean you're their coach.
Okay.
Some of those athletes, yes, you are their coach, and those are the ones that you're traveling for. But the core group, like if I have, let's say for an example, if I had 50 people in a class, maybe only 10 or 15 of them, I'm actually their coach and I'm helping them all the time. Or my brother or Alex or Woody, they're not all our fighters, because this is like a hub of, a place where people come because it's a nice climate. There's a lot of good training partners, and, You know, that's a big thing here is the training partners. But
Yep.
the ones that if I'm gone, then, you know, my brother's taken over, Alex is taken over. And yeah, like they have to understand you know, sometimes I'm not going, just because I'm not there, it doesn't mean that they're not getting good training or good coaching or good work. Like, bro, at City Kickboxing, Israel prepares for a UFC, like, you know, title defense, and he's in there sparring with a mom. But you know what? Nobody says a goddamn thing to that coach because everyone respects him and they know, like, you know, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, out here, fighters, like, it's a bit like, it's different. It's different. And that's why we're excited to be able to be, you know, totally in control of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming there's a whole other world of politics behind the scenes that nobody even realizes or sees as well, and they kind of just see the gym from the outside. What is, let's call it your USP, your unique selling point? How is your gym going to differentiate itself from these other gyms? You know, not just in Thailand, but around the entire world. So you're driving these elite athletes to you. What is that like? You know, that outlier that's going to bring these people in?
I think it's kind of again, say this.
But don't worry. Yeah, say it. We understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the ego, but it's the truth as well.
Yeah, I think the team that we have is going to drive a lot of people, and also the fact that we've kind of all worked together for so long, and we've worked with a number of athletes for so long that those guys are, you know, going to come back and work with us again, because that's, you know, that's at the end of the day. Yeah, okay, even our facility, you know, every facility, whether it's beautiful, it's a shed, whatever it is, if the coach is there, are the guys that you entrust and trust with your career, you're going to go wherever they are. So I think we've kind of, between us all, built that reputation to a high standard, and that's kind of what's kind of going to drive the elite athletes back to us. But like George said before, you know, this isn't just going to be an elite training facility for fighters or whatever else. This is going to be for everyone. And I think, again, what George was touching on, our kind of culture in the gym and stuff like that. You know, like we like to train hard, work hard, but we like the banter as well. You know, we like to
Gotta have the banter.
Yeah, we like giving people shit in class and whatever it might be. You know, and
Otherwise you'll be too stressed out, and there has to be a little bit of fun.
Who wants to come train with somebody that's
like screaming at you?
Right, like you want the people to come back, whether they're a professional fighter or not. You know, it is a business at the end of the day, and I don't know. I was a car salesman before, so it comes natural.
But are you guys connecting as well? Like, let's say a guy like Khalil or Tai Tuivasa, like not just in the gym, but you're going to dinners, you're hanging out. Like it becomes more family.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying before. Is, you know, we're all kind of friends with these guys too. So you as a coach, you get emotionally involved with the person, not just as a like coach athlete, but as a friend as well. So you know, you have to obviously draw that line. There are times where you have to be like, nah, come on, lads.
They have to respect you.
Yeah.
But it's an intimate sport, so it's a very different than like a football. Same way as wrestling. A wrestling coach to whether it's a kid or, you know, a college coach, the relationship is very different that I have seen in my time, rather than my friends that play football or baseball or basketball. The wrestling coach is very different, and MMA is very similar.
Yeah. It's cool. It's good. You know, everyone's.
It seems like it, but it's also these elite athletes at the end of the day, they're still human. Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to have to go through their, you know, personal stuff as well that can affect their fighting. But I mean, as a coach, the psychological side, I have to assume that it's almost a 24/7 job. Meaning, like, if you're training a fighter and you've told them to stop running or whatnot, and you see him running around at night, like, you're still friends, but there's a line you probably have to put him in his place at a certain point, because that's also why they're there, right?
Right, yeah, for sure. I mean, if something like that happens, and that's happened many times, and I'll call Woody and be like, hey, I just saw so-and-so running, and then
who's good cop, bad cop?
We can pretty much we're shit at that type of thing, but we can like.
So, like, how would you handle a situation like that when you have a fighter, an elite fighter that, you know, don't train and they're out running at 11 o'clock at night?
MMA is like very different, you know. It's very different from Muay Thai, where the big boss is the big boss and that's it. You MMA is like, it's very different, and doing it in this country is very different. But no, I would just say, listen, this is like, did Woody tell you to run? The answer is no. Okay, then stop running. Like, either listen to us, or they have to. Like, if they don't respect, if they continue to do something, and I don't think this has ever happened, if the person was running and they weren't supposed to be running and we said that, then they wouldn't do it anymore. Like, I've never had a case where somebody just kept going against what I was saying. But yeah, if that was the case, then I would, say, sorry, like, you don't trust me enough so that, I can't hope, like, it hasn't happened.
And is that because the schedule and the regiment that you set up for these athletes is so strict in terms of not just diet, but their exercise routine, that they shouldn't be doing anything outside of that?
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on that again, I kind of had an athlete. So you've got to understand as well where people are coming from, different. Like, so people from that being in Russia train completely different to the people in America, say.
How so?
I'd say in America it's a little bit more structured, and they're kind of on that path already, because a lot of guys have come through the college, whether they've played football or they've wrestled or whatever else. So there's kind of discipline there. Not to say that they're not disciplined in the Russia, like in Russia or wherever else they come from, but it's just different. They're more the mentality of, let's just work as hard as we can all the time. And whilst that's a great mentality to have, it's also can hinder you. So you have to slow these people down. You talked about it a little bit before, like Peter Yan will train hard all the time, but sometimes you just need to slow these guys down. And when I was just starting out training MMA guys, I had a couple of the Russians and Chechens and whatever come through, and yeah, we would see them running on the beach when they were supposed to be, relaxing and whatever else. And I'd pull them up, but it took a little bit of time. But then they started to realize, okay, if I rest, actually, I can go 90%, 80% rather than being on a 50%. And they were starting to realize. So again, you've just got to build that trust. And once that trust's there,
that's the key.
Yeah,
you catch them in the grocery store. I always see them shadow boxing. He's still yelling like, "Hey, that's enough." You see these guys always on the island. You're like,
I remember Dan Hooker shadow boxing one time in the Tesco Lotus.
Yeah, for sure. I see them all over the place. They're not trying to be funny. They're literally like.
I sent him a message and I was like, "Mate, stop shadowing in Tesco. What are you doing?"
That's funny, mate. Okay, before we wrap this up, because I got to take a piss soon. Water always runs through me. I wanted to, just because of your wrestling experience in D1, and this is more of a hardcore MMA fan question. What is the difference between these fucking Dagestanis that are just running through the UFC and their wrestling versus D1 wrestling? Is there something specific you can talk about? Is it their wrestling style? And just run with that, please.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with you.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, your Khabib's.
Okay, well, Khabib wrestles off the fence. Everyone he takes down is off the fence. MMA wrestling is very different. Like, when my brother first came, I made him do everything, train everything, so that he could learn the difference. Because he's not a fighter, or he hasn't fought. But wrestling internationally in the Olympics is freestyle wrestling. So if I take you down, then you stay flat and try not to let me turn you in parterre position. And so I think that, and of course I'm biased, but I think that folk style wrestling I think Khabib's just a freak. Like, he doesn't count for the rest of, like.
He's an outlier.
Yeah.
Among outliers.
Yeah. But I think that, in my opinion, folk style wrestling, collegiate wrestling, whatever you want to call it, from America is probably the best for MMA, because if I take you down in high school or college or elementary for that matter, I can't lock my hands. Whereas in freestyle, which is what they do, the guy on bottom flattens out, and we do that as well in the Olympics, but during the school year, you wrestle folk style, and I have to be able to control the guy that I've taken down without locking my hands, unless he's on his back or I'm trying to pin him. And if I'm the guy on bottom, I can't go out like I would in parterre, because it's considered stalling, and the guy on top gets a point. So the guy on top has to hold the guy on bottom down without locking his hands, and the guy on bottom has to get out or he can't lay flat. He has to be able to get out or reverse the guy. So in my opinion, it's the best for MMA. And yeah, I think that like there's been times with, guys that are from Chechnya or Russia or other countries as well that
Like say I know you guys are close with Dan Hooker, but like let's say the Dan Hooker Islam fight, like is it just because Islam's also coming from that Khabib background that they're just what's in their fucking water, or like what's going on there?
I mean, I think Dan just like got taken down and that was that, wasn't it? Like that's like his Islam's bread and butter.
Same thing. Islam did it to Bobby Green again as well.
Yeah, he's a collegiate wrestler. I think that Islam probably is maybe another outlier, like you said.
That's
with that wrestling off of the fence. Like maybe some of the guys that are American, maybe they don't do as much wall work as like somebody like Habib and Islam. Like because they're taken. I don't remember if Dan was taken down in the open or against the fence, but wall wrestling is a completely different like. Look at George St. Pierre. He was a great wrestler. He beat how many like Division I All-Americans and Division I national champions, like a lot of them. I think, on a broad spectrum, that folk style wrestling is, in my opinion, the best because of being able to, control the guy on top and still punch and move to submissions and stuff. But wrestling and MMA is not, it's very different. Like a lot of times when I'm wrestling sometimes, but I have the guys, especially if they have fights coming up or Loma or the girls wrestle they're not allowed to bend down or like bend their knees and bend over like you would in a wrestling stance, because in an MMA fight, you're not shooting from that position. You have to lower your level because you're standing upright striking and then shoot. And the defense is the same thing. Like it's very, very different. And wrestling off of the wall or the cage is very, very different. Like there's a lot of techniques that you can use to, to defend. Like Israel does a great job of like, maybe he probably gets taken down, I think, statistically more in the open than against the fence because he's long. He knows how to use his body, and he's got great defense off of the fence.
Yeah, I mean, his defense, it's amazing. Besides the Yang fight, but then I don't know, the Yang had probably 40 pounds on the guy going into that thing.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe they fight again the next day, and like he beat him on that day, and it was a very close fight. But
what about this? I thought this kid was training with you. It's an up-and-coming Russian. I think he's flyweight. Magomed or
Makayev,
yeah. Was he training with you guys? I thought he was. Was he up here?
No, he's not been to Bangtao, but he was with us.
The Tiger.
Tiger.
He hasn't been back. I don't think for.
Yeah, since he left Tiger, he's not been back.
Okay.
Since COVID.
Someone was saying he might be coming back up to your gym. I don't know. I had some insight.
Could well be.
I had some
He
inside
could well
info.
be.
I don't even. I might have heard that at a bar one night off some. I was like a Russian guy that might have been friends with him.
Right,
he's a great kid, man.
He's gonna be dangerous. I think.
Yeah,
100%.
Sure.
Like his
prove that.
You see his last fight.
Yeah.
What do you think? This is I'm fanboying out now. Kai Kara France. You think he gets that win? You think he gets that next fight? I think. Well, no.
Yeah,
I guess they're
so.
gonna. I heard they're gonna do Davison.
Yeah, maybe he'll get the winner of that.
That's what I heard. Yeah,
but I think that he proved
he deserves
in that
it.
last fight. Like, come on, that's like the Habib of his weight.
Correct.
Like what he did to him. So, yeah.
Yeah, his last two fights, it took him to another. His
another guy that we've seen before. Like
Yeah.
when he talks about the cruise ship, I remember cornering him on that boat. And
Yeah.
he's another kid that we've known was going to be, something.
But he had a loss like 3 fights ago, and
Yeah,
then he made a comeback.
Yeah, he's lost I think a couple of times in the UFC, but since that fight on Fight Island, he lost.
He had that knockout he had.
Dropped him, and then
Yes.
the guy guillotined him.
Yeah, no, he's made it. Because I thought when he had that loss, and you know how it is in UFC, it's like you get those L's, and it's like it sets your career back like 2 years. He came out of that real quick.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, Cejudo Volkanovski. Stop, right? Fuck. Why would they do this? First
I
of all,
don't think that they would do that. Like,
I think it's
I
the
don't think they'll do it.
stupidest fight.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do
I'd rather see Holloway Volkanovski 3. I think
Yeah, I think.
as a fan,
or Henry go fight a couple of times.
forget about Henry. Henry. What, you won a couple fights and you retired? Great.
Yeah.
He built his own hype. There is no fucking hype. Like I get it. He won some big fights, but I think he kind of got, he's good and he won a couple big fights. And I think he did the George Costanza, like He's going off on a high note. But I'd like to see Volkanovski, Holloway 3. I personally think Holloway won the first. For sure, Volkanovski won the second. So I think it's even. But that's just my opinion.
Oh.
But it's hard to come from you guys because you guys are going to be biased on that. I get it.
Maybe one day we need to sit down and we'll watch that.
Yeah, we got
the first fight especially.
I thought the first fight was very, very close. Very close.
Yeah, they were close fights, but
the third, I think the third one Volkanovski takes it, and the main reason behind that is I think he's leveled up every single fight. That I want to see that fight to make him like really stamp it into the fans' minds that like, wait, watch this, and I think he could knock him out.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a Holloway fan, that's the hardest part of the UFC. It's like you start watching these fights like your Brad Riddells and Fizieves, and you don't want anyone to win.
It's going to be interesting. I think, Volk, like you say, he's leveled up.
He's leveled up.
Just keeps going. And
I mean, that last
keeps
fight,
getting better and better. Yeah, he just absolutely destroyed.
You saw him come out in that last round with Korean Zombie, and he literally went, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
He's like, "All right, here we go."
I think I think he does a number on Holloway, and then hopefully, like you say, that cements, because in our mind, I think he's the greatest.
I mean, you guys see it inside and out. I mean, again, I'm not a professional, so you guys are seeing things on another level than like the average fan.
Yeah.
What do you think is next for him? Does he takes that fight? I mean, I heard Zabit's coming back. You got Yair, or does he go up a weight class?
I think he said it in the post-fight interview, that he kind of said, get your shit together, or I'm going to have to probably move up a weight or whatever it is. So,
do you think that's a big leap for him just in terms of height?
Nah, I think he's
most of his training partners are probably lightweights anyways.
See, I think a good fight for him, I would love Gaethje wins, Gaethje Volkanovski. That's a fucking sick fight, man. That would just be a banger, because his takedown defense is superb. Gaethje's given up on wrestling, it seems. Like he's gone to that leg kick, that calf kick. That would be a great fight. And I think Volkanovski takes that fight though. Gaethje's just a little bit too. He overextends. He's a bit too wild, which you saw like what Poirier did to him in that fight. He was just more tight. Okay, so before we wrap this up, just let everyone know, now by the time this is out, the gym has done the grand opening. We'll do some stuff on Instagram today. Let everyone know where to find you guys and your Instagram handles, and just some information about Bangtao Muay Thai.
Well, you can find our gym on Instagram at Bangtao Muay Thai and MMA. I think on Facebook.
You can look at that camera.
I think Facebook as well.
Pull the mic to you, man.
My personal account is GHSEK1, and make sure come check out our gym. As we said, the grand opening will have already happened, but it's a beautiful facility. It's world class, and it's slap in the middle of Bangtao.
Yeah, and Woody, yourself, are you got a girlfriend now, or you're single?
Yeah.
Okay,
I've got to go.
Okay, otherwise, all right, ladies, stay away then. I mean, that's the only shout out we can do on your IG handle, right? No, if anyone wants to find you in case they want to contact you, maybe you guys are doing private training there as well. So
yeah, we do. We've got obviously private training for everything: Muay Thai, MMA, wrestling, whatever you guys want, fitness. So we've got it all. My Instagram's at Woody_VVA. So hit me up if you want any coaching or just to come and check out the gym, get in the fitness class. And first class is free for anything. So if you wanted to come and try a class, first class is free, whether it be Muay Thai, MMA, fitness, wrestling, whatever it might be. So
awesome. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining us today. We'll probably come over check it out Saturday night.
Thank you.
For the opening, and I'll go give that stuff to Hugo Hub. We're coming for you. Well, I guess they'll see this later. All right, that's it. Thanks.